Hi, this is a demo video for an AKAI receiver model AA-V335. This unit was made in the late 80s, and I'm just going to go over the functions of it and just to show that it's working fine. Let's start around back here. And over on this end, we've got our speaker connections here. It's your standard kind of latch type. You just put your bare wire in there and latch it closed. And one thing to note here, the speaker inputs, it says A or B. So you got your A and your B's are down. This is your B set and this is your A set. If you're using A or B, you can use an 8 to 16 ohm impedance speaker. If you're using A and B together at the same time, then you need to have 16 ohm impedance speakers on it. So that's just something to be aware of if you get one of these. And you've got some switched and unswitched AC outlets here for additional components if you want to hook up power that way. And then over here we've got, this thing's pretty heavily based on VCR, VCR technology. There's some S-video inputs here and an output, which you should be able to switch that. I don't know if you have the remote, maybe even from the front panel. And then there's some additional VCR type of RF type inputs here that use the coaxial cable. And then there's some additional monitoring for video outputs here. And then there's some, there's a kind of a little jumper here. This I experimented with. I'm not exactly sure how you use this, but if you say you put a CD, you hook something to the CD player here, and then you take these jumpers out and run this out to an amplifier, all it really does is it just pipes this through into this output at a fixed level. So, but typically you would just leave these in for normal operation. And then you got a whole set of audio inputs here. You've got the CD input, and then we've got a VCR1, VCR2, digital audio tape, DAT, and the tape on the bottom there for cassette deck. And then you got your phono input here, which I'll demonstrate does work as well. Got a ground here for your turntable. And then some antenna hookups for the radio. So we're just going to hook that up real quick. So I'll show you that the radio's working. And yeah, that covers all the inputs and outputs on the back. This unit's in pretty nice shape. There's a few scratches on it, but it's definitely, I think, spent most of its life in an entertainment center. But pretty clean unit. $100 per channel is what it's rated at, and it does output 100 watts per channel. I did test it on the oscilloscope and some 8 ohm dummy loads, so it definitely has a lot of power. If you're looking for something of, that you need a lot of power, this would be a good unit for that. So we've got it on in standby here indicator, so if you turn the unit off, that just stays red. It's just to show you basically that there's power to the unit. And then you hit the power, and then green indicates it's online and ready to go. Got your headphone jack here. all your basic tone controls, bass, treble, and balance. And then here's your speaker output controls. Turn A or B on, or both, or alternate them, however you have it set up. And then you got a simulated stereo you can use, kind of give your radio stations a simulated stereo if they're not stereo. And then these are just all your standard tuning controls, up and down, and you can scan or pick your AM and your FM band. There's your FM, there's your AM, all that sort of thing. If you want to set the stations, you just hit the memory button and then you click the station or the preset that you want to save to. Really simple there. There's all your presets. You got 20 presets you can put into memory. And then here's all your inputs. And then this audio mute is just for if you just want to turn the sound off, momentarily. And you got your indicator up here. You just hit that. Pretty simple. And then I'm not sure what this sound insert is. I'm not exactly sure what that's used for. You'd have to look that up in the manual. I haven't seen the manual online yet. I mean, I've seen parts of it, but it might take a little research to find. Then we just got the loudness control here. So you can turn the loudness on and off, and then you can actually adjust how much loudness effect with this adjustment here. And then you got your source direct, so that just directs the audio past any of the tone controls and that sort of thing, and just outputs it to the speakers that way without any change in the sound through this unit. And then there's an extra set of inputs here for a video disc player, or you can use it for VCR too if you want. So that's kind of nice and convenient. And then I don't know why, but they got the volume control here, but previous owner had etched in this for some reason. I don't know what that's for, but it's you can feel it. I think if you went over it with black marker, you probably wouldn't see it too much. That's the only kind of blemish that this thing has. It's got that engraving there in the metal faceplate. Anyhow, yeah, this thing works good. Right now it's set to tuner, and
you'll get hand-selected products that are diversified across high-performing genetic platforms. The best
so
for your growing conditions.
Here's the audio mute demonstration. Yeah, that's all it does. You can see what set of speakers you're going to here. If I hit the button, turn A off, turn A back on. Now A and B are both on. Both A and B, all the outputs are working. I've tested all those. Right now I just have A hooked up, but yeah, both outputs are working fine. And for people that have a turntable, this unit does have a turntable or a phonograph input here. So I'll just flip it to that and start up my record player. Show you that that's working. Some people look for that input if they're analog fans. We got that playing. I'll turn it up here. Don't want to play it too much because I'll get a copyright strike from YouTube, but it is working fine. And then I've tested all the audio inputs, all the RCA jacks in the back, and even these right in the front here. Everything is working. If I go to CD here, I've got an audio recorder hooked up to that input. So let's see, it is playing. Okay, that's just got some piano practice my son recorded on it. So if I switch over to CD, which I am, We should hear that. Got your balance left and right. Okay, and then go to the, let's see here. Let's go to the tuner. Show you that that's working.
This holiday season on the iHeart.
There's that, and then you scan to the next station.
All sessions or tickets right here.
So yeah, it's working fine. And then if we go over to change the bands to go to FM. Yeah, this unit sounds nice. It's got some nice features. It's really heavy on the analog because it's from the late 80s, but it's got a lot of power. It's a big, heavy unit. I don't know what it weighs, but it's got a huge transformer in it, and it's a really clean unit. Even inside, it's clean. I've looked inside just to make sure everything looks like it's in place and hasn't been tampered with or anything like that. So yeah, I also noticed too, this still is from the era where they've got some service panels underneath. I'm not going to show you, but you can pull a bunch of screws out, and there'll be a panel on the bottom that you can pull off rather, and access the bottom for the circuit board troubleshooting and that sort of thing, for a service person to get to. So that's nice. So it's a nice unit. It all seems to be working great. And that is the end of my demonstration. Thanks for viewing.